Greetings. Welcome back. It's nice to be here again, and it's nice to have you sitting there listening to my ramblings here on. So today's episode, I kind of wanted to, if you couldn't tell from that really attractive laugh, today I wanted to dive into witches, the history of witchcraft beliefs, the rise of witch hunts, and nowadays you could sit there and say that witch hunts really never left us. They just evolved for witch hunts in general. Witches, witchcraft, all seem to be part of the human condition and human nature, in which we attack things and people that we don't quite understand or care enough to sympathize with and get to know. No, there's none of that happening in the world today at all. Nope. Sarcasm. So before I get too political, let's just jump right into it. So, the origins of witchcraft beliefs. The concept of witches predates Christianity, with roots in ancient cultures where magic and the supernatural were integral to daily life. Early references to witches can be found in texts like the Bible, particularly in the story of the Witch of Endor, who summoned the spirit of the prophet Samuel for King Saul. Ancient civilizations, including the Greeks and Romans, also had their own interpretations of witchcraft, often associating it with female figures who wielded magical powers. And, who the hell wouldn't want magical powers? I sure as shit do. Life's boring, man. Let me, set some shit on fire with the snap of my fingers, you know? Moving forward, the rise of witch hunts. The fear of witches intensified during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, particularly from the 15th to the 18th centuries. This period saw the emergence of witch hunts fueled by religious fervor, societal unrest, and the belief that witches were in league with the devil himself. And in Britain, witchcraft was not made a capital offense until 1563. Oh, wow, go figure. But by the 17th century, thousands were accused, tortured, and executed, notably the East Anglian witch hunts of 1645 to 1646, led by Matthew Hopkins, the witch-finder general, also portrayed by good Sir Vincent Price in one of his later films. Witches have been depicted in various ways throughout history, from malevolent hags to benevolent healers. The Renaissance played a significant role in shaping the modern image of witches, with artists like Albrecht Dürer, I hope I said that right, I mean no disrespect, influencing public perception through engravings that portrayed witches as both alluring and terrifying. The duality continues to manifest in contemporary representations of witches in popular culture, ranging from classic Halloween to modern portrayals in films and literature. Speaking of, I still need to actually sit down and finish watching Wicked. I saw it on Broadway years ago, and I enjoyed it, so I want to actually indulge and sit down, enjoy it. I've heard nothing but wonderful things. But moving forward here, the societal impact and legacy of the notorious witch hunts, which had devastating effects on communities, particularly on women, who were disproportionately accused of witchcraft. Many were labeled as wise women or healers, whose practices were misunderstood and vilified, because that's what people fucking do. The legacy of these events continues to influence social attitudes towards women and the supernatural, as well as ongoing discussions about justice and the consequences of mass hysteria. In summary, the history of witches is a rich tapestry woven from ancient beliefs, societal fears, and cultural representations, reflecting from the complexities of human understanding of the supernatural and the consequences of persecution. The witch hunts serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of scapegoating and the importance of critical thinking in the face of fear. Now, a lot of this sounds pretty fucking familiar right now, doesn't it? So, without trying to take away anything from the actual individuals who were attacked and demonized by the mass hysteria of evil black magic. This element here is genuinely something to be found in the human equation. For instance, right now in the world, we are experiencing this with the transgender community. I'm representing myself here. Hello. We have massive lockdowns on immigration, homosexuality. There's always something to scapegoat. There's something to demonize. You know, in World War II, Europe, it was the Jewish people. It was anyone that the extremist movement deems an enemy of the state. You have, in this case, the witches, witchcraft. You had these innocent women who were just social outcasts in some way, shape, or form. They could have been having marital problems. They could something as simple as not even or not being able to bear a child. You know, medical issues that we did not understand at the time. These poor individuals ended up having to pay the ultimate price for not being submissive enough, even if it was something beyond their control, if it was beyond anything that we had at the time to understand what could be happening with the individual, the psychological issues, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just like well-being, your physical, mental health, any of that was completely neglected and disregarded for in the name of religion, in the name of the church. And over here in New England, we have the notorious Salem witch trials. And as someone who often does visit Salem itself, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the touristy part of things. You know, it's fun. As someone who absolutely loves the Halloween time and the spooky season, you know, Salem is kind of a must. But when you're there, if you end up getting around to it, be sure to take a minute to look into all the innocent people that were prosecuted because of things that did not exist. And these people were simply demonized. These poor women were attacked by the church because of these accusations of things that held no water. I don't know if you know too much about the Salem witch trials, but without getting too far into it here, there was a child by the name of Abigail Williams who started accusing people of being a witch and acting out and claiming that she's some kind of a vessel for God, and she can react or notice, or she was being impacted by spells or things being or just being the object of attack from witchcraft and Satan. And she would just, all she had to do was simply point at someone and accuse them, and the entire town would go into an uproar about that individual, and they would start to be investigated. They would be held at public trial. They'd have public executions. This part of humanity, like the witches they're not just a spooky cultural icon. They're not necessarily just like ghosts or vampires, or, you know, there isn't, as fun as portraying a witch can be, and as fun as, you know, the cauldron, the long nose, the green skin, the black clothes, the hat, the broom, and the kitty cat. You know, as fun as all that is, it comes from an incredibly dark time in humanity, one that we're still not quite past yet. There while we won't necessarily attack witches, like I said, there's absolutely different types of individuals that other types of individuals demonize at the moment, and we're still seeing a lot of that playing out at the moment. There's lots of hate crimes happening in the world surrounding various different things. I'm not just talking about us trans people. I'm talking about, like, without getting too far, I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I do want to make my point loud and clear that this type of behavior that took the lives of so many people at it's such an early time in the nation's history here. We need to do better. We need to be better. People come in all shapes and sizes, all different creeds and faiths and sexualities. You cannot, you can't put people through prohibition. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for substances. It doesn't work for drugs. It doesn't work for alcohol. It doesn't work for damn near anything. People above the most. You can't boycott a type of human being. And if you support doing something like that, if you support the ideology of, oh, me and my tribe are far better than you and your tribe, fuck off. Just fuck off with that bullshit. My culture's better than your culture bullshit. It's a tale as old as time. People don't learn. Humanity doesn't learn from themselves. And the things that we see in the world right now, it's not much different than the Salem witch trials. It's not much different than medieval Europe. A witch. It doesn't even mean anything. You hear people yell about communists. Half these fucking people that are saying what a communist is, they don't even know what communism is. You can't just yell these things. It makes you look like an idiot. It's the same thing with those people back in the day. If you were a medicine woman just trying to benefit yourself, and maybe if you didn't talk to too many other people in the process of you exploring your own individuality, you were immediately demonized. So the moral of this story here is that humanity needs to do better. Like, you only get to live once. We are all we have. Here in the universe, here on planet Earth, we need to stop demonizing each other and just start fucking getting along. Nothing's gonna change. Humans are going to be humans. It's just exhausting. People are so fucking exhausting. And I don't know. I just want there to be a brighter future for everyone, including you listening to this. I wish the best. And I care a lot about everyone. I'm very much an empath. But I mean, that's going to wrap up today for now. I'm certainly going to get more into this stuff, but thank you for joining me today on the episode of Witches and Witchcraft, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.